Here is the rewritten script in very simple English, casual storytelling style like friendly gossip, keeping every single fact in detail exactly the same length, line by line, no adding, no removing, no shortening. Dana Perino, one of the most trusted and steady voices in American news, has spent years helping shape what the country talks about. From the crazy, loud White House press room to big shows like The Five and America's Newsroom, she's always the calm person in the middle of every mess. The lady who stood at that podium during the wildest times looking almost superhumanly cool. But most people forget this amazing woman started way out in a tiny Wyoming town, growing up with no money or connections, fighting her way to Washington just through hard work, stubborn effort that no fame could ever give her. And now at 53, behind that bright smile everybody loves, Dana is going through a chapter that hurts way more than any TV fight she's ever had. A chapter full of quiet sadness and pain that only her own heart really gets. Before we go on, please hit that like button real quick. It's just a small way to show respect for the girl who came from nothing to become a huge part of America, and who's now facing a kind of darkness no camera can catch. Sadness usually doesn't scream. It sneaks in super quiet, like the cold Wyoming wind that shaped Dana's early childhood. She was born May 9, 1972, in Evanston, a town so silent it almost felt bruised by the freezing air. Little Dana came into a place where being tough wasn't something you were taught in school. You just breathed it in every day, like the land itself was telling you to learn how to handle hard stuff before you even knew what hard was. The sky up there was huge and beautiful, but kinda mean, making a tiny kid feel both safe and totally crushed at the same time. She only lived there until she was 2, but in those couple years the place basically tattooed itself on her. Its loneliness, its patience, its quiet rule that even little kids have to learn to deal with the wind. Way before she even knew the word grief, she felt it deep inside, in how the wind never quit blowing, in how the horizon kept running away no matter how fast you chased it. Wyoming lives in my bones, she said years later, thinking about a home she barely remembered but could never really forget. A place she loved as a little girl, a place she lost. A place that taught her way too young that life can rip you away from everything that makes you you before you even know how to hang on tight. When her family moved to Denver, Colorado, Dana grew up in a normal house with not much money and pretty quiet rules. The Perino home was never rich or noisy. It was the kind of place where you just did your chores without complaining, and silence taught your heart more than talking ever did. Her dad, Leo, was her first real teacher. He'd spread the newspaper out every night and show her that the world only opens up to people who actually pay attention, and that her opinion mattered even if she was little. Her mom, super steady and loving, taught her the other half of getting through life, keeping your emotions in check, staying organized when everything's messy, and being strong without needing anyone to clap for you. Looking back, Dana realized those little lessons she didn't even notice at the time became the backbone of who she is now. But under all the normal family stuff, her inside world was already starting to shake a little. She learned to hide her feelings, to think before she moved, to read the room before opening her mouth. A shy kid already getting really good at surviving a world that wasn't very gentle with her. Every summer she went back to her grandpa's huge ranch in Wyoming, gorgeous but brutal. At 9 years old, she was up before the sun hauling water, cleaning dusty horse stalls, fixing fences in blazing heat that didn't care she was just a kid. But in all that toughness, Dana actually found a safe spot. A world where working hard meant something, where the same routine every day gave her structure, and strength wasn't some cool trophy. It was just what you needed to make it to tomorrow. The ranch taught me grit, she says later. But that grit wasn't something she bragged about. It was just the only way to get through the day. Back in Denver, not having much money felt heavy on a kid who shouldn't have to worry about that stuff. It taught her to only take what she really needed and work for anything extra. By the time she was a young teen, she was getting up crazy early for shifts at a PBS station and working late nights at a radio station, learning the discipline, patience, and steady vibe that would stick with her forever. One super special thing she loved, an old illustrated kids' Bible, got lost when the family moved, and it left this empty ache. Years later, a viewer mailed her the exact same book, and all those memories came rushing back. The worn pages, the familiar pictures, quiet mornings curled up reading it, and for once she let herself cry. "It felt like a piece of my childhood came home," she said softly. A big reminder that even the toughest grown-ups still carry quiet little heartbreaks from when they were small, and those heartbreaks help build the strength the world ends up admiring. Every bit of organization, every piece of self-control, every time she stayed cool under pressure that America loves. That stuff got hammered into her in those hard places, shaped by work, being alone, and the quiet need to just keep going. The silence of a house that didn't do, drama, the dust and sweat of her grandpa's ranch, the dark little radio booths where she had to be independent super young. Dana didn't get strong because life was easy, she got strong because life made her. Early, quietly, every single day. Long before she ever stood at that White House podium, Dana Perino had already learned the hardest thing any kid can learn: how to stay steady when the ground moves under you without warning, how to hold yourself together with class when nobody's there to catch you, and how to turn that quiet toughness into something that would later inspire millions of people. Every amazing life story starts not with winning, but with tough, unsure, hungry, never-stop-working times. Dana Perino's climb in politics and TV didn't start on the White House stage. It started in quiet rooms, dim studios, cold streets where she learned toughness is made in hard times. After leaving the giant Wyoming skies and the simple Denver life, Dana became an adult carrying invisible scars from childhood, tons of self-doubt, and the constant lesson that to survive, you have to plant your own roots deep. She learned super early to keep the peace, to watch first, to stay calm while everything around her changed fast. Those quiet skills became the foundation of her career. In college, she studied mass communications with minors in Spanish and political science, living a life that mixed brain work and real hustle. While her friends partied on weekends, Dana worked overnight radio shifts. The hum of machines and green glowing boards were her only company. She practiced keeping her voice steady even when nobody was listening, filling dead air with confidence she didn't totally feel yet. During the day, she worked alone at a tiny PBS station, setting up cameras, writing scripts, running tapes, learning how to make stories matter even when nobody seemed to care. Hunger, being wiped out, and doubt were her regular buddies. Some mornings, all she had was coffee and half a borrowed bagel before a 12-hour workday. Then came Washington, D.C., shiny capital of power, but just as cold and unforgiving as the Wyoming plains, only worse. Dana showed up as a low-level staff assistant, answering phones, taking notes, carrying papers through fancy hallways where nobody knew who she was. She had zero family there, zero connections, zero backup, just the stubborn drive she'd built living cheap for years. Her big break came when she became press secretary for Congressman Dan Schaefer. A huge job nobody thought a 25-year-old girl could handle among older pros. Reporters grilled her, staff doubted her, every question felt like a mini battle. But Dana wrote perfectly, briefed clearly, and stayed ice cool when questioned. Skills that would later make her famous nationwide. In a town that loves loud people, she earned respect by being quietly excellent. In offices where people underestimated her, her words cut sharper than their doubts. Her climb was slow, but every tiny step was earned the hard way, with effort nobody saw. The first real punch came in 1998 when Congressman Schaefer said he was retiring. Her little work family disappeared overnight. At 26, she felt the awful emptiness of losing not just a job, but her whole purpose and belonging. The city that promised big things suddenly looked scary and unsure. Right in that shaky moment, scared but hopeful, she met Peter on a plane, a guy way older, divorced twice, who felt like a personal safe place but ended up pulling her career sideways. In just 11 months, they got married and she moved to England, leaving her journalism dreams behind for quiet afternoons in a strange city where every street reminded her what she'd walked away from. The miles matched the lost feeling inside. Fancy foreign life couldn't hide the loneliness, the missed chances, or the scomo. Airy question if she could ever get her old path back. But even in that lost time, her toughness grew deeper. When 9/11 happened, she came back to America, not as a beginner, but as a woman who'd already survived hunger, exhaustion, loneliness, and the shock that life can flip fast. She took a spokesperson job at the Justice Department and became the calm voice the country needed, turning her private strength into public steady. Every tough moment, every empty studio, every freezing night working alone, every month of feeling exiled had trained her to speak and lead when it really counted. Dana had learned the hardest lesson any person can learn: to stand tall, steady, and classy, even when the world gives you zero safety net. Nobody could have guessed the girl once lost and jobless in D.C. at 26, then stuck in another country, would one day walk the most powerful hallways in the world. Dana Perino's road to the West Wing started super quiet, no big celebration. In 2002, she joined the Council on Environmental Quality. Most people never heard of it, but it was important government work. She learned to handle secret info, feel the weight of big decisions, and work where one wrong move could cause huge problems. These weren't flashy lessons. They were the first hints of the super endurance she'd need at the White House. "This isn't glory," she remembered later. "It's nights of hard work nobody ever knows about." By 2005, at only 33, Dana stepped up to Deputy Press Secretary. Working under Tony Snow and Scott McClellan, suddenly she was in the bright national spotlight giving briefings that could change how the whole country felt in seconds. Every day, the press room was packed, reporters picking apart every word, every look, every pause. The pressure never let up. The country was split, feelings were wild, and clear answers felt like the only rope to hold on to. Tiny, 5'1" Dana stood in front of a wall of cameras looking totally unshaken. What nobody saw was the private fight under that calm face. The first time she practiced at the podium, her chest got tight, hands sweaty, and for one scary second she thought her voice would crack. But she breathed deep, stopped the shaking, and walked out anyway. "Every answer mattered," she said later. "Some days it felt like I was holding the country together just with my breathing while my own heart was pounding." And then came the moment that broke her heart forever, when Tony Snow got cancer. Her mentor, the guy who taught her how to speak strong, the rock in the crazy press world, was suddenly facing death. Her perfect world of control turned into pain and duty mixed. Suddenly alone in the spotlight, Dana had to give statements she barely believed she could say. Hands shaking, heart slamming, every word like walking a rope between sadness and staying strong. Half her heart hurt for Tony, the other half turned to steel for the country. She learned the cruel price of leading. The world wants you cool even when you're falling apart inside. Bravery hidden under control, while fear eats at you quietly. Loss, camera noise, staring reporters became the place where private pain and public job crashed together. In 2007, at 35, when Tony stepped down, Dana became only the second woman ever to be White House press secretary. She took a job right at the center of power and pressure, where every word, face, pause got zoomed in on. The cool title came with total exhaustion and nonstop watching your back, answering hundreds of reporters every day, handling crises that changed hourly. She carried the country's eyes while inside she had sleepless nights, endless meetings, and constant worry about mom. Essing up 7 days a week, 14 16-hour days, no days off. Weekends, holidays, real sleep were things she almost never got. Flying with the president, nonstop briefings, 24/7 media watch slowly broke her body and mind down. Dana's health and feelings got pushed right to the edge. Real rest only came in tiny stolen seconds. Clear thoughts sometimes only happened locked in a bathroom answering urgent emails where nobody could see. One coworker called her the nation's most trusted voice. But at home, the Dana that Peter knew was often gone, buried under duty. When January 2009 came and Bush left office, 36-year-old Dana walked out of the White House famous but carrying hidden scars. 7 years of crazy service built an unbeatable reputation, but left her exhausted, quietly scared, with memories that haunted quiet minutes. Wanting to heal, she went to South Africa for a month doing volunteer work, a planned break to make peace with the winds and the huge cost, to breathe again after years in the fire. "I left with prestige," she said, "but also scars nobody saw." But the story didn't stop there. Dana came home and started a whole new chapter on national TV. She joined Fox News and became a face millions trusted, bringing the same calm, smart, strong vibe she learned in the White House to nightly shows, interviews, and opinions. She looked powerful but still human. Her takes carried real weight because she'd actually lived the crises, not just read papers about them. She traveled, gave talks, wrote books. Her voice helped shape what America talked about and gave a model of honesty and calm to a country still feeling shaky. The same toughness built in hidden government halls now shown on screens everywhere. Turning the girl who once felt lost into a huge national figure people respect and love. Proof that toughness, bravery, and hard work can build a legacy way bigger too. Han any job title. On TV, Dana looked perfect. Smart, calm, impossible to rattle. Millions knew her voice, trusted it, leaned on it. But almost nobody saw the shadows behind it. The rushed work moments, the closeness she missed, the choices she thought about so hard that sometimes her heart whispered, "Is this enough?" Right next to the spotlight stood Peter McMahon, a British businessman 18 years older. His life story was already long written before Dana showed up. They met in 1997. He was 43, she was 25. On a flight from Denver to Chicago, not knowing one short chat would change everything. She saw his wedding ring and thought he was taken. He noticed how focused, gentle, and curious she was. He came with 2 failed marriages and grown kids. She came with big dreams and the ache of always moving. The next year tested them hard. Phone calls across oceans, letters, short weekends stolen from work. They picked each other on purpose, soft and real, beating distance, age difference, and quiet worries. When they married in 1998, it wasn't some crazy romance. It was a promise made with eyes wide open. Small quiet wedding in South Carolina, soft music, a few friends, real warmth with zero show. No movie fairy tale, just honest love. Peter already had 2 grown kids in England, a life Dana never tried to push into. She just showed up kind and steady, loving without demanding anything. But under the sweetness was a quiet truth. They never had kids together. As a young woman, Dana pictured being a mom when my career slows down. But politics and TV never slow down. Days blurred into press conferences, shows, meetings, crises that never ended. Time slipped away quietly but fast, and the chance to have babies slowly closed, leaving a constant soft ache. No big dramatic moment, just the slow realization that while she was busy holding the world together, life moved on without her in that part. "We don't have kids, so the fridge is always empty," she joked once, hiding the longing behind a laugh. A reminder some doors close quietly with time, dreams, and years spent working like crazy in her 20s and 30s. She never called it regret, just a truth she carries with grace. Their love changed shape instead. First came Henry the dog, then Jasper, America's dog, who brought warmth, laughs, and family feeling without kids. Jasper was more than a pet. He was the heartbeat of the house, the joy that filled the space children might have taken. When Jasper died in 2021, the world saw Dana cry on air, a rare crack in her armor. But the real pain was private. The house suddenly empty, silence too big, a loss that sat on her chest like a rock. Percy came later, full of wild love and clumsy cuddles, and though he brought smiles back, Jasper's spot stayed soft and forever. A reminder, love always takes a piece when it leaves. All this time, time itself was the quiet enemy. Dana hit her early 50s, still looking great but feeling the years in her back, while Peter in his early 70s, Peter showed clear signs of age. Slower getting up, stiff shoulders, eyes sometimes staring far away, remembering everything. Nights got long with quiet worry. There were times Peter got sick, small old age stuff that felt bigger because of the years, and Dana sat beside him in dim light, pushing hair off his forehead, holding his hand, counting every breath like their whole life depended on it. In those minutes, she felt how fragile life really is. She realized days are numbered. Every tiny moment, laughs, touches, whispers, is a gift on loan from time. She'd lie awake feeling his chest move, hand on his, heart squeezing with love so big it almost hurt. Their shared bed, warm and familiar, also reminded her every day that one day only one of them would be in it. Loving someone older teaches your soul patience, learning to treasure normal stuff, slow breakfasts, tired sighs, inside jokes, quiet beach walks where every step feels like praying time stops. Time can wear bodies down but can't touch the deep love grown in its shadow or the sharp ache that shows how precious every second is. Peter was her hidden rock, greeting White House exhaustion with tea and quiet listening, not questions. When cable news got nasty, he reminded her the real world was their home, not the TV noise. Their love grew from small, everyday kindness, not big scenes. Everything changed when they moved to Bay Head, and after 40-plus moves, Peter said, "I want this to be the last place," turning the girl he met on a plane into the woman who finally gave him a real home. There, life got gentle. Morning walks with Percy running ahead, waves at their feet, talking about news or nothing. Simple dinners, plates clinking, soft laughs, treasures after years of chaos. To fans used to seeing her perfect on TV, it feels super sweet picturing her barefoot in the kitchen stirring soup, laughing with the man who finally said, "This is our last stop." But even in this gentle chapter, old shadows hang around. White House memories still make her jump at 3 a.m. calls. She still braces when big news breaks. The invisible weight of huge decisions stays in her body. And there's a softer hurt she carries quietly, the empty space where kids would have been. Not a tragedy, just the price of timing and giving everything to duty. She carries it with class, but it leaves a tiny crack under the strong woman the world sees. Still, Dana never lets loss win. She flips it. She pours love into mentoring young reporters, coaching students, talking to normal communities, writing books like Everything Will Be Okay, and quietly giving part of the money to schools and animal groups living the kindness she grew up with. She and Peter support Mercy Ships, the charity doing free surgeries around the world, with money and actual trips to help. At Fox News, she's helped raise over $30 million for our veterans, sick kids, and more. Jasper dying made her fight harder for animals, now through Percy, donations, and comforting fans who loved him too. On air, she's at her best on The Five and America's Newsroom, still one of the most trusted, fair voices on TV. Her clear thinking comes not from yelling, but from real-life discipline and calm she practiced when the world was falling apart. And through everything, Peter stays her quiet center. After distance, age difference, sickness scares, political hate, stranger criticism, and private pain, their marriage lasts because they choose each other on purpose every single day. In Bay Head, they built something breakable and unbreakable at the same time, a life full of thankfulness. As Dana moves into her next 10 years, still on air, writing books, lifting up new voices, she carries truth earned across continents, losses, wins, and healing. Real strength doesn't always shout. Sometimes strength is just a quiet, steady light that outshines every storm. If her story touches you, makes you think, or lights a little fire inside, let a like be your way of saying thanks to the woman who started with nothing and became the calm voice millions lean on. Golden American Stars wishes you and your family peace in your heart, health in your body, joy in your days, and tons of good stuff. In money, chances, and love. May your road be bright, your worries small, and your future full of moments you'll want to keep forever.